Today we're going to talk about the 4 biggest mistakes I made in the past 3 years. My name is Michael Barayev, and I was able to build a team of 150 plus sales guys in less than 2.5 years. We did that with zero money invested. Now we have a huge solar company that's growing like crazy from coast to coast, like butter on toast. So I get a lot of questions asked sometimes, like, Michael, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you made in the past couple of years? And to be honest with you, I have a lot of mistakes that I make, and failure is part of the process to become a better business owner, a better human being, as long as you don't fail as a whole, right? I actually read a book not too long ago, again, called Failing Forward by John Maxwell. And it talks about making mistakes as part of creating success. As long as you don't hit failure as a whole and give up and quit, then there's no failure. Right? You got to keep doing things over and over and over again with different strategies, different, obviously, techniques to get to the promised land of getting success. So what are some of the biggest mistakes that I've made, right? I'm going to talk about some mistakes, but these are the 4 biggest ones that I can think of that I look back and say, damn, if only I didn't make these mistakes, because I learned from them, and believe me, I won't make these mistakes again. And one of the lessons about making mistakes is that you can make mistakes, you can make mistakes as many times as you want, as long as it's not the same mistake over and over again, right? It's very important to understand that. Make mistakes, have failure, just don't have failure as a whole, and keep making those same mistakes over and over and over again. So one of the biggest mistakes that I made in the past 3 years was I burned some bridges with a few people. Now, when I say I burned some bridges with people that I should have never burned the bridges with. At that moment, there was emotions involved and ego involved and, a lot of nonsense and riffraff. And I remember just, cutting those people out and not communicating with them, right? And to be honest with you, looking back at it, I was like, you know what? I should have just left it alone and not spoken about it, not talked about it. Just let some time kind of heal some things a little bit and not burn those bridges. Because sometimes when you burn a bridge with someone, even if you didn't say, go screw yourself, kiss my ass or whatever, even by not communicating with somebody, that can sometimes burn a bridge as well, right? Like, I have a lot of friends that I haven't spoken to in years, but if I call them up right now, it's as if we just haven't, we haven't stopped talking. Like, I have a close friend in New York. Every time I go to New York, I say what's up to him, and I know him since first grade. Every time we talk, it's as if we haven't stopped talking, right? And I never burned that bridge, even though we had a lot of arguments as kids, blah, blah, blee, blah, blah, blue. Guess what? I didn't burn those bridges. But one of my biggest mistakes in the past 3 years, I specifically burned a bridge with someone that I should have never burned a bridge, right? Just by excommunicating that individual or just not talking to them. And that was my mistake, okay? Number 2, I trusted some people that I shouldn't have trusted. Okay, I'm not going to give you guys exact scenarios, but I trusted a specific person or a specific group of people, and that was my mistake. I let them into my mind, into my circle, into my life of influence, and I trusted them. And I learned a long time ago that who you bring into your circle is very important. You got to be very careful, right? Whether they come from, a different city, a different town, a different industry, a different anything. When you bring someone close into your circle, you got to be very careful on who you bring in, because they can affect the culture. They can affect your mindset, they can affect your family, right? And I trusted somebody that I should have never trusted. That individual looked like, smelled like, it was perfect. It was wow, match made from heaven. When in reality, it was just a bad decision, because we didn't have the same values. We didn't have the same belief system. We didn't have the same core principles that we actually lived by. And that's one of the biggest mistakes. And even though I thought that person did, or that group did, in my reality, it wasn't true. Right? In reality, it wasn't true. I trusted some people that I shouldn't have trusted. And that was a mistake that I made. That was I learned a lot from that, because I said, okay, how do I trust, how do I get to know people and bring people into my circle if I don't trust them? How do I get to trust them? And I learned that I have to put people through tests, a 90-day probation test, right? And in those 90 days, I'm watching them. I'm monitoring them. I'm judging them. I'm questioning them. I'm watching them, every move they make. And I'm verifying if they're trustworthy or not. That was my mistake, and that was my lesson that I made. I'm going to move forward and say, you know what? If this person wants to come into my life, I don't believe a lot of the yip yap. I'm going to believe the actions. I'm going to pay attention to how they say things, because at the end of the day, I'll give you guys an example. In our company, we have 10 commandments that we believe in. One of the commandments, as an example, is work ethic. Okay? And if somebody comes into my office and says, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to work hard. Well, great. But I'm going to give them 90 days to show me how they work hard. I'm not going to believe them. I'm going to watch them. And they may work good for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But what about 6 weeks? What about 8 weeks? What about 12 weeks, right? That's consistency for me. And as long as there's congruency with what they say and the way they move, I like that. After 90 days, I can start inviting them a little closer to my circle. But I made that mistake. I will not get too close to certain people or anybody in general unless I believe that they're trustworthy, because I made that mistake. Number 3, I made a bad investment in the stock market, right? I made some bad investments, right? And I bought certain companies that I should have never bought. I bought companies that were all based on hype, not based on facts. right? That was my mistake because I let my emotions dictate my decision making at that moment. It was a bad decision. I lost a lot of six figures from that. It's okay. It's a learned lesson, valuable lesson I got from it, but I made a decision. I will never make a decision that's emotional ever again. I will never make a decision when my lows are low and my highs are high. I will make decisions only when I'm equilibrium. I don't make any rash decisions. I don't want herpes, you know what I mean? Because that's the only rash decision you can have. My goal is to make sure I make educated risks. And I learned very clearly from that decision, don't let other people influence you to make decisions. Because one of my friends was making that decision, and guess what? I kind of followed that path, and he's very successful. But I made a decision that was wrong. And I learned from that. I said, oh, what should I do next time? Don't look what everyone else is doing. Be a contrarian. Everyone's going this way, go that way. And you know what's crazy? I didn't follow my gut, right? I didn't follow my gut when I knew it was a bad decision. But I just didn't freaking think about it. I just made a decision, I made it like a rash decision. That was a very bad decision, right? Number 4, I didn't have a plan B. I always had a plan A, plan A, plan A, plan A, but I never had a plan B. I was like, well, what if plan A doesn't work out? And I never thought like that. I've always worked on plan A, made plan A work, but sometimes plan A is not really going to be plan A. Sometimes plan B will be your plan A. And I just didn't prepare for that in the last 3 years. I made some quite hasty decisions. Some of them were actually not too hasty. Some of them I took some time to make those decisions, right? And what ends up happening is that don't make decisions too fast, but don't make decisions too slow. So I made the fast decisions and the hasty decisions, but I also made the decisions very slow. And those two decisions affected me like crazy, right? And now I'm back into my life where I'm back at the equilibrium where I make decisions at a speedy pace, but not in a slow pace, right? And that's one of the things that you learn about yourself and your business. Like, life is about making mistakes. Life is about getting smacked up. Life is about getting knocked down and getting back up. It's not about the decisions. It's about the choices that you keep making after you make those bad decisions. And I don't want you to beat yourself up, but you could probably list 100 things that you did wrong in the past couple of years. So can I. But who gives a shit? Let's learn from those decisions and move forward and grow from those decisions, because that's the only way to get to the next level and actually create some success in your life. Because even through all those bad decisions, I made some really good decisions that have made me a ton of money, that have given me a lot of happiness, that have given me a lot of friendships. I met some incredible people in the past couple of years because of the decisions that I made. So even though it seems like a bad decision sometimes, some positive decisions will come out of that as well, as long as you look at it from the right angle, right? It's always about the right lens from your perspective. So, my name is Michael Barayev. Hopefully you got some amazing value from this video. Hopefully you can learn about some of the decisions that I made and not make those same bad decisions. And hopefully you can make the right decisions for your future, for your family, for your business. And if you love this kind of content, do me a solid, share this video with someone, like this video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you know exactly when we post this kind of content. And we'll see you guys in the next video.